Good morning, children. I hope you all are good in health and must be attending your class regularly. Today I am Anuja Sharma from KB Birpur. Discuss about the concept of aggregate demand and aggregate supply. So we shall start now with the concept of aggregate demand. So first of all, the meaning of aggregate demand. Children, aggregate demand means the total demand for goods and services in the economy. In other words, we can say that the total amount of expenditure that all sectors of the economy are ready to spend on final goods and services. So, aggregate demand and aggregate expenditure mean the same thing because when we demand for goods and services, we have to spend some amount of expenditure. So, we can say that total demand is always equal to total expenditure in the economy. Right, class? So, it means aggregate demand is always equal to aggregate expenditure by the economy. Now, we will discuss about the components of aggregate demand. So, first of all, private consumption demand or private consumption expenditure. This is the first component of aggregate demand. It means total expenditure incurred by the household on the purchase of goods and services during a given period of time. After this, private investment demand, or you can say it investment expenditure. It is total expenditure by the producing sector or firms on the purchase of new capital goods, machinery, equipments, etc. Right? Now, about the third component of aggregate demand, that is government expenditure. What is it? It means expenditure by the government to purchase goods and services for collective consumption, compensation of employees, and direct purchase from abroad. So, this is the third component of aggregate demand, and the fourth one is net export. What is it? It is the difference between value of export and value of imports, or you can say that it is the difference of expenditure by the foreigners in domestic territory of India and expenditure by the residents to purchase goods and services from abroad. Right? So, these are the four components of aggregate demand. But class, here we are taking only two components of aggregate demand, that is C and I, consumption expenditure and investment expenditure, because for determination of income, here we shall discuss only two sectors, that is household and firms. Household expenditure denoted by C and firms expenditure denoted by I. So now two main components of aggregate demand is C and I. Aggregate demand equivalent to C plus I. Right? Now we will discuss the next concept, that is about the schedule of aggregate demand. In this schedule, we can see here that level of income and consumption expenditure, investment expenditure, and by the summation of consumption and investment we can get aggregate demand, because these are the two components of aggregate demand. And at various level of income, consumption increases, but on the other side we are seeing here that investment expenditure is constant, that we will discuss further. So the schedule describe about the two components of aggregate demand, that is C and I. As the level of income increases, our consumption also increases, but on the other side, investment remains constant. Now, about the behavior of aggregate demand. It shows that it has two components, that is C and I. This is the behavior of aggregate demand, that is it describes about the two components of aggregate demand, that is C and I. There is always some positive consumption even when income level is 0, right? And slope of consumption curve is always, as we can see here in our diagram, if we will discuss about the aggregate demand curve, the slope of consumption curve is always positive. Why? Because as the income increases, consumption also increases. Slope of AD curve. AD is a combination of, it is a summation of C and I. So slope of AD curve is always upward, or you can say it is a positive slope curve. So this is about the aggregate demand curve. In brief, we can say that aggregate demand curve shows two components, that is C and I, where I is a constant. Why I is constant here? Here it is assumed that the economy has only autonomous investment. It means that the change in income brings no effect on investment. As we can see in the diagram, it remains constant at all level of income. We can see here in the diagram, investment remains constant, that is the straight line parallel to the x-axis. More about the demand curve. Aggregate curve rises. Here we can see that aggregate demand curve rises with rise in income, and it starts from above the origin, because there is always some minimum level of consumption even at 0 level of income. Because why it is so? Because people need certain basic goods and services for survival even if income is 0. So starting point of consumption curve is always above the origin, and that minimum level of consumption is called autonomous consumption. What is an autonomous consumption? Autonomous consumption is that minimum level of consumption when the income level is 0, and that autonomous consumption met from our past saving. Right, class? So meaning of autonomous consumption is clear to you all. Now we have already discussed about the investment curve. It is parallel to the OX axis because it remains constant at every level of income. And this type of investment is known as autonomous investment. It means that the change in income brings no effect on investment. Now we proceed further. Our next concept is aggregate supply. What is it? It is the total flow of goods and services in the economy during a period of 1 year. Total flow means aggregate production of goods and services planned by the producers to produce in an accounting year. And monetary value of this total production. The monetary value of this total production is distributed among factor of production in the form of rent, interest, wages and profit. So we can say physical flow of goods and services become equal to factor income, or you can say AS is equal to Y. Now about the components of aggregate supply. As we have two components of aggregate demand, here also we have two components of aggregate supply, that is C and S. C, it is always positive, consumption is always positive even when income is zero. When income increases, consumption increases and vice versa. So we can say that C is a function of Y. The second component is saving. And how can we get the saving? If we deduct, if we minus our consumption from income, the amount we can get of saving. Saving increases with, again the saving increases with the increase in income and vice versa. So we can say that saving is also a function of Y. As the C is the function of Y, S is always the function of Y. Now about the supply schedule. Here we can see that income level, consumption level, saving, and these, by the combination of these two components, consumption and saving, we can get aggregate supply, because aggregate supply has two components, that is C and S. As the aggregate demand, as we have earlier discussed, that aggregate demand has two components, that is C and I. In the same way, aggregate supply has two components, that is C and S. And the total of C and S is a aggregate supply. Here we can see that as the income level increases, consumption increases. But here we can find out three observations. Number one, when the income level is 0, and then at this level the consumption is 50. So in this level we cannot save anything, so the saving is our minus. We are showing here negative savings because here C is greater than Y. The next observation is that the consumption is equal to income. When the consumption is equal to income, it means there is zero level of saving. This is our second observation regarding the schedule. The third observation is what? When the consumption is less than the income, and when there is a less consumption than income, it means we start our saving. We can save something, we can save our income. So when the C is less than Y, the saving is positive. We can save some income. Now about the curve, aggregate supply curve. Here this curve, aggregate supply curve, is 45-degree curve, right? It is denoting as 45-degree curve that has positive slope, and this AS curve is obtained by taking the sum of C and S, because AS is equal to C and S. C means consumption and S means saving. And at each point of this line, C plus S is equal to Y, or we can say AS is equal to Y, right? So AS curve has a positive slope and always denoted by 45-degree, as we can see here on the diagram. On the OX axis we are denoting here income, and on the OY axis supply, and its two components C and S. AS is always equal to Y. Now, what about the significance of 45-degree curve? Number 1, it represents the sum of C and S. Number 2, each point of this line shows that Y is equal to C plus S, because these are the two components. C and S are the components of aggregate supply. So we can say that Y is equal to C and S, right? The third point is, it is used as a guideline or reference curve when we shall discuss about the equilibrium level of income. That is our next chapter. Okay, and the fourth point is, equilibrium level of income takes place somewhere on this line. So these are the significance of this aggregate supply curve, right? And this is all about today. Keep watching the videos sent by me, and if you have any doubt, children, you are free to call me. In my next video, we shall discuss about consumption function and saving function. Till then, take care of yourself and your family members. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.